Okay, how you doing? My name's Mike. This is the Sunday Night Chat. I'm spent, man. Whew. Just went for a walk around the hood here. I didn't even empty my pocket yet here. I have not been. Man, I used to do this walk all the time. I used to ride the bike around to the shop all the time, and I just haven't been doing it. So I've been laying around, and I'm trying to get back to it, man. Summer's coming. It's hot today though here in LA. Like I'm sweating. Ugh. You know, most YouTubers would, I'm sure I look like hell, man. They would quaff themselves all before the video, and you know me. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves about my own videos is when I go back and watch the video, and there's like hair hanging out of my beard. Weird stray hairs, or there's a hair from my head caught in my beard, and I almost never look in the mirror. You could tell when I look in the mirror before I do this, because I'll put a little wax in the mustache or something, but I don't want to do that today. I don't really care about what I look like all that much. You guys know that. So, I mean, I have a certain panache, I suppose, a little bit of a style. I like cool stuff. I like handmade, unique things, but, you know, I'm not that hung up on it. Anyhow, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about today, but it'll come out like it always does. I'm drinking some water here. Hell of a week, huh? I wanted to say how, you know, I've been mentioning this lately on the Sunday Night Chats, where I never wanted us to be talking about politics and whatnot, but it seems to come up, and Sunday chats seem to be the day to do it, and you guys have been enjoying it. But I'm not enjoying it myself that much, because it's reminding me of what it was like when I was following politics before, because it's not a happy mental place for me. It was fun in the beginning when Trump first took office, and watching all this, and it's all still happening at breakneck, lightning speed here. It's hard to even keep up with. But now the frustration is building again, because I was hopeful that the left would have common sense. I was hopeful that they would see the error of their ways. I was hopeful that they'd be like, oh, crap, man, we lost this election by a lot. We lost the popular vote by a lot. Like, you would think, maybe us lying all the time, maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe people don't want that. But, you know, it's all this George Soros funded stuff that's going on now. And I got to tell you, I did look at some of it, and Sabo is like following it all the time, so I see what he's posting. And these people, these protests, that's MoveOn.org. That's Black Lives Matters. That's Free Palestine. That's Elon is a, you know, it's, that's what this has all become. It's the same people. You know who it is mostly? It's old people. It's boomers, man. Boomers. Don't call me a boomer. I'm not a boomer. I'm a Gen Xer. All right, Gen Xers kick boomers in the ass. That's what we do. Get the hell out of here. So it's a bunch of old hippies that, you know, they're mostly irate that none of their ideas work, and now they're stuck in this spot, and they're easy to freak out. I don't know, man. It's a crazy scenario that's going on. So I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy pointing it out. I don't think it needs to happen. I mean, they're so ridiculous as it is. It's just nonsense. But it did force me to have to kind of look into things a little bit more with tariffs and everything. In the meantime, I got to strip down here a little bit. I'm really loving this band I made for this XKX 173, but it could use one more hole, because when it's hot out, everything swells, and it could be a little bit more comfortable. I did put a band that I kind of messed up on a little bit on this Aragon, and this watch looks really good on the leather, and it's a little bit looser, so I'll put that on. Got to have a watch on, you know, otherwise I feel naked. And I'm not going to get naked for you, at least not now. It depends on how much money you guys donate to my Venmo and PayPal. Take my shoes off here. So It's like Mr. Rogers. Yeah, you know, I started paying attention to people who were, you know, a lot smarter than me, which isn't hard to do. A lot of people are smarter than I am. There's people with PhDs, you know, talking about the history of the economics for the country and everything, and it's interesting. And tariffs are an interesting thing. Like, you always heard the word, but you know, did you really understand what was going on all this time with it? I didn't. Uh, this is the thing. This is one of the many positive things about President Trump is, like, when the first term came along, he brought things to light that nobody knew about, that the media just wasn't covering, like that pipeline from Russia going into Europe. You know, nobody knew that. I mean, it was you if you were in a political wonk and maybe you knew, but the media wasn't telling you that. Trump brought it up, and all of a sudden, whoa, it's a big thing. And that's what he does with everything. He makes it news. They're covering this guy 24/7. He's taking questions. What does he sleep? 4 or 5 hours a day? When he's not sleeping, you can see what he's doing. They're following him around. He's stopped. He's taking questions. Most transparent president in history. So now you know. It's like, well, wait a second. They've been charging us how much? All these tariffs. And the thing is like the media is trying to convince you that tariffs are a bad thing, and it's going to raise the prices of things, and we're going to go into a recession, and you know, all the doom and gloom stuff. Like when I was a kid in the 70s, when they were telling us we're going to enter an ice age, and by 1980, you know, all the oil will be gone and depleted. By year 2000, we'll be starving to death. You know, that didn't happen at all. Then it changed to the warming. Like everything they tell us is a lie, and it's all scare tactics to get you to do something, which inevitably takes more money out of your pocket and makes you less free. I say this every week. It's a thing. It's nauseating because they're never right. You know, you get one of these people on the street and they're screaming all this stuff. All you got to do is ask them, "Can you give me an example of what you're saying? Like, can you give me the numbers? Can you tell me where Elon's stealing? Can you show me that? Can you show me the money he's taking that's going to his account? I'd like to know what that is. You know, whatever it is, whatever they're saying, ask them for an example of it. They can't really do it, and so it's foolish. I don't want to even give them that much time. I'm done talking about it. I'll tell you something I'll talk about here. I also made this morning. Finally, I made a little loop, a little keeper for the belt that has a little D-ring on it here. So now the chain for my wallet can hang on that. I've been using the belt loop on my trousers, and I've lost a few of those over the years when a chain would get caught on something, but that's not going anywhere. I'm happy about that. What else can I take off? Oh, hang on a second. Robin and Patrick Crone, once again, sent me another package. Friday, it was a good day because I was very frustrated by the time I got home on Friday. And, oh, look. Here's one of the things that was in the package. What am I? What I always tell you? I'm so pro, man. It's a drinking thing. It's a drinking thing. What's a drinking thing called? Like a cup? Woo! It's hot out there. That exercise will slow your mind down or speed it up. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. That's pretty cool, huh? It's so funny. I have these things, and I don't, like, I use them for a little bit, and then I stick it somewhere, and I forget about it. There's probably a bunch of them on a shelf, but I'm going to try to use this one. I should have thought about it I should be drinking out of it right now for the show, but I'm not doing it. Now, they sent me a little card here. Sweetest people ever, honestly. End of the day, Friday was a crap day. It started off not great. Then it went super great. I'm going to fill you in on that. Like, an amazing thing happened. Amazing. Wait till you guys see it at the end of this week. Amazing. And then later in the day, I got super frustrated. And I'll tell you about that, I suppose. But when I got home, I had a package at the door. And I just want to tell you, those of you that have a family and people in your lives that you see every single day, you get mini rewards every day throughout the day. Excuse me, little accolades. People might throw your way. Kindness, hugs, smiles, laughs. These are all the things that the human spirit and soul need. And I live alone, so I don't get that. I might go days without that. So just so you know, those of you that do this for me, I want you to know that if I don't seem appreciative enough, like I'm not mentioning it enough, I just want to explain to you, I'm very, very appreciative. I appreciate you sending me stuff, because inevitably it's on a day when I'm not in a good mood. I come home and then there's a package there, and it just cheers me the hell up. It's like Christmas. Thank you. And it's good that you're doing it, because I think I fall into this thing being alone where I do spend money that I shouldn't be spending, and in a way it's a way to cheer yourself up, because you know you get a package coming. It's like Christmas whenever a package comes. I think that's why people get addicted to Amazon. So if you're sending me shit, that's awesome, because that means I don't have to spend as much money to cheer myself up. I got problems, right? I got some mental issues, man. I'm telling you. That's why you guys are here. You're waiting to see the screw wiggle completely free, and then my brains kind of fall out, and then me do something crazy. Hi, Mike. Sorry the t-shirts we sent didn't fit. I think the problem was, although they were large, the sizing was listed as unisex. Yeah, I'm not unisex. I'm a friggin' man. I'm a man. Nothing I'm wearing is unisex. I'm a man. Man sizes. Maybe you can give them away, like maybe to your niece. I did. I gave them to my friend Corinne, who was here, which if you look at her, you know, you could see what's going on there. So those shirts fit her nicely, let's say. Trying an experiment with one of these shirts. Trying an experiment. Hyphen. One of these shirts is large and the other is extra large. One of them should be correct size for you, unless you end up in the middle like Goldilocks, with one too small and the other too big. Also sending you a Bigfoot travel mug with a special saying printed on it. And it's take care, Patrick and Robin Carl. You guys are fantabulous. And yes, I just showed this and it's super cool. We should put this over here where you can see it in the shot maybe. You guys see that? I hope you can see that. Let's talk t-shirts real quick. Pretty cool. Now, Seaside Park is my hometown, but the Heights gets all the rep, you know. Not good usually, but very, very nice. Now, here's the thing. The large actually fits in this style shirt. Now, the beauty of this shirt, no seams on the sides. I don't like these new shirts that have the seams on the sides. And then let's just see something here. Heavy cotton. You're going to make me put my... No, 100% cotton. Has to be 100% cotton. 50-50, not interested, man. Not that I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth and I'm throwing shade your way if you sent me a shirt that was 50-50, whatever. I'm just saying I don't want to wear it. I have a few. I do wear them once in a while. It's very rare. I'm a 100% cotton kind of guy. And so these, what is this? This is the Gildan. These are okay, man. And the large fits good, but it's more of like a sleep shirt, and the size large is pretty much perfect. I am in that Goldilocks zone. I've mentioned this before. I've got like a 48-inch chest, but I'm only 5'9". So, you know, I put an extra large. It looks like I'm wearing a tent practically. But thank you guys for that. It's very cool. Back to reality, I suppose. So yeah, the thing with these tariffs is it's interesting because they're telling us all these bad things are going to happen. But the thing is, you know, Trump brings this up. This is all happening. How are the economies? How's China doing? How's Germany doing? How's Britain doing? How's you know, before everything just happened right now. Right now is a crazy moment in time. But these companies, these countries who are running their countries like companies, like a company would do, they've been charging us these high tariffs for a couple generations now, right? Multi-decades. And that's in large part how they're making money. That's how they are. They're subsidizing their own economies by charging us a tax, basically, is what it boils down to sell our products in their countries. And we weren't doing that to them. And up until 1913, we didn't even have an income tax here because we were using tariffs against other countries. Then after World War II, we kind of like let this happen because, you know, the world was, you know, a pile of cinders, basically, at the end of World War II. So we wanted to help all these countries build themselves back up. We knew we could do that because America is, it's a capitalist society, capitalism. We are a constitutional republic. We believe in individual freedom and liberties, so you could start your own business, do whatever you want without the state getting in the way too much. Of course, that's all been flipped over. It's all screwed up now. It's a friggin' mess, which is why this needed to happen. But just looking at it historically, it's fascinating how we let this happen. And if you really get into the weeds with this, you learn what's going on, because it's companies working in cahoots with people in government, like our government, allowing these things to happen, because then those countries are greasing the people that let those things happen in the first place. This bureaucratic monster that's been running our country now for quite some time. That's why Doge is happening. That's why all this is happening. And I get it. Like, if you got a 401k right now and things are looking rough, all I could say is just take a breath, sit back, and relax. If you're the type of person that you're allowing the media to freak you out over every little thing, and this is happening right now, and here's what's going to happen because of it, tell me when those predictions have been correct. This is what they do. They get you scared, you freak out, you start posting stupid shit, you're sharing all the stuff that when you really look at it, it doesn't make any sense. You make yourself look foolish, and you're angry for no reason. You're just in this, you've been conditioned to accept a mental state of anger as your happy place. That's what's going on, and you don't even realize it's happened to you. This is what's been going on. So you need to stop paying attention to it too much. Things will shake out. I really believe it's going to be a good thing in the end, but it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be problems with it. And, I think in a large part the tariffs were really designed to create more of a free trade system where there are no tariffs at all. Many countries have already said that they want to drop their tariffs because they can't afford it. The only people who are giving us a hard time are the ones who have been screwing us over the most over time, right? With the highest tariffs on our products. I will say this. I mean, I don't think that we're perfect by any means, and I don't think all of our products are the best or perfect. Like, when I think about Europe not accepting our food products, I kind of understand it. A lot of what we have in our food, they don't. I'll give you an example. Look at breakfast cereal. Like, I don't know, pick one. Count Chocula, Trix, whatever. If you look at our ingredients for a box of Trix, and then you could look at the box of Trix from Europe, you're going to notice something. Our ingredients list is like this friggin' long, and theirs is like this friggin' long. And sure, theirs has sugar in it, but that's all. It's got real sugar in it, Ours has corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, all kinds of other things that add more sugar and more crap, and it's literally poisoning you. Why would you want somebody to sell a product into your company that poisons their people? Look at our population. We're a bunch of fat bastards. That's a fucking problem. Meanwhile, we are accepting other food products, like from China, that has all kinds of shit in it. I went down the rabbit hole on this a while ago. Like, I won't buy any garlic that comes from China. There's so much crap in the food that we get from China. Like, they're literally killing us, poisoning us. This is where the fentanyl's coming from. Like, we are taking in products from countries that are poisoning us, and also the whole consumerism thing and the throwaway culture, and nobody's thrifty anymore. Nobody repairs anything anymore. This breaks, just buy a new plastic thing from China. Let's put more plastic into the oceans and into landfills from all these cheap products from China. I mean, this has been a problem for a long time now. So let's knock it all off. The country has to start, we have to start producing our own stuff now. So there's a whole bunch of things that are happening at the same time. This is what's hard, is it's easy for the critics to take one thing, scream about it, make all these wild predictions that none of which is going to happen, and fixate on that one thing. And it's easy to find things that you can really make look bad. And then you can always find examples of right now where it is bad, where it's momentary, but fine. But they're not ever taking into consideration everything else that's happening that it should be factored in to point out to those of us with common sense that, oh, wait a second, this is actually a good thing. We just have to ride it out for a bit. So just relax and ride it out. I personally never got involved in the stock market. I'm not a money guy. There's been times in my life where I've had little chunks of money come at me and I've considered it. But when I was a kid, my uncle lost everything in the stock market in like the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. It was a big friggin' deal in the family, man. So, he's like, I'll never do this again and it's a waste of money. And so I was just conditioned to stay away from it. But then as I got older and I knew other people that were doing it, and I also thought it out, I realized, like, well, it's not bad if you keep the money in there. So the bottom line is, if you're going to screw around with the stock market, you shouldn't be doing it with money that you need. It should be like extra money. And then, as I've said before, I think it was, they asked Einstein what the most important discovery of the 20th century was, and he said compound interest. That was his answer. So it's a good thing if you leave your money in there. So just leave your money in there and relax. This is a good time to buy. Like if I was a stock person, when Trump first came in, he said he was going to do all these things, and I saw, if I would have been following it, I would have seen the rumblings. I would have seen things, the stock market shifted a little bit. I said, you know what? Maybe I should sell right now because I see a fall coming. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. So if I take my money out now and keep it right here, once it starts falling, I got to pay attention to that. And when it looks like it's pretty bad, but I start seeing other things on the horizon look like it's going to get better, buy back in at a lower price and maximize my profits. Like that's the way my brain would have worked if I was a stock market guy. So if you're complaining, the way I look at it is you only have yourself to be upset with because you should see this stuff coming. I don't know. That's how it looks to me, but I don't know. I don't have that stuff, so I don't have to worry about it. Just saying. I wrote notes. I did not do this right like I was doing last week, so I did mention the food thing. I do think about that, like when it comes to RFK. Honestly, it feels to me like Trump has thought this stuff out. Like the first time he was in, keep in mind, our stock market wasn't doing great in the Obama years until the end of his term. But really, once Trump came out and announced he was going to become president, that shifted everything. All of a sudden, the stock market started going up. And then under Trump, it went through the roof, higher than it's ever been before. So he knows what he's doing. But then the pandemic thing happened on purpose to take him out because at that time he wanted to do all the things he's doing right now. But he had the deep state going against him. He had all these bureaucrats working against him. He had a lot of people, even in his own cabinet, that were working against him. He didn't know what he was getting himself into 100% there. I don't think he expected to win that first time. So the second time around, he had all his ducks in a row. He got all the right people in there. And so he knew what the long game is. He has the whole thing planned out. He's got very smart people around him. And so what he did first was he put the right people in place to allow his plan to go through. And you'll see there's little speed bumps along the way because you got some activist judges here and there, which is not their job. They cannot stop the president. They're working for Pam Bondi, really, and she's on his side. So they can slow the process a little bit because of the legal shenanigans, but they're going to get run over and things are still going to happen. That's the beauty of the setup. And part of the setup when it comes to the bad food is RFK. So him coming in and getting our food products better, if he could get us off of Monsanto and all the other poisons and everything else, well, then you know what? Hey, maybe we can get American food products up to par to match what Europe does and then be able to sell our food products to other countries. And they will welcome it because it won't be poison. Amazing. Amazing how that might actually pan out and work. Yeah, amazing. So slow your friggin' roll if you're just angry all the time. I wrote some things about stuff here. Oh, I did want to say too, Trump's got the Trump card thing. It's $5 million to buy a Trump card. I've heard already they've sold 1,000 of them. My only thing on that bothers me is citizenship is not mentioned. It's like, okay, you buy in, you become an American citizen, but it can't be just money. They have not mentioned the naturalization process. They've said, hey, look, if you come in, you pay the $5 million, you're a citizen. Is that the wording that they're using? But then they've also said, hey, if you turn out to be a scumbag, we can still throw you out and keep your money. So there's that. But nobody has used the term naturalization. And that's what bothers me. In my opinion, it should be okay. You got $5 million. You want to be a citizen? You could do that. And we'll help streamline the process for you to become a naturalized citizen. But you got to read the books, you got to study, you got to pass the test. Because naturalized citizens to this country end up knowing more about how our government works than kids, American kids going to school right now. They learn civics. They learn the Constitution. They know all three branches of government. They know what all three branches of government's responsibilities are. You learn all of that to become a naturalized citizen. How do I know that? Because my father was a naturalized citizen and he used to throw this out there all the time and school people all the time with his hard Greek accent and, people thinking he didn't know anything, and he would just shut them down with facts, the truth, common sense. It was a beautiful thing to watch. Behold. So I don't care if you got $5 million. You better study and know it, know what's going on. Then we'll take your money. So I'm okay with that. I heard a term recently that I really like. It's called the censorship industrial complex. This is the corporate media, the USAID funded people, the Soros group, those people with this constant censorship of speech. The country was built on free speech. The First Amendment is about free speech. The Second Amendment is about protecting the First Amendment. So, it's crazy with the whole, it's a game. And it's so crazy to me because it's obvious to me that the left are actually the fascists. They're the ones telling us what we can and can't say, what we can and can't do. They're the ones forcing you to accept absurdity, which is why they got to get rid of the Department of Education, because all the nonsense that they've been putting in the minds of our kids. It's why you see there's a rebellion against it now. The youth is who put Trump in office, and you see these old boomers out there protesting Elon and whatnot. Like, thank God that we have this sea change going on, because these boomers are the ones that really screwed everything up. And look, Generation X, we're responsible too. We were too busy having a good time. We weren't paying attention. We lived on the high, man. 1980s? Are you kidding me? There wasn't any worries. And we were having a good time. If you wanted a job, you had a job. I mean, there was so much money in this country. It was ridiculous. The pet rock. That's the one that always jumps into my brain. People actually bought rocks where they glued a mohawk and put googly eyes on it in a box with straw in it. A rock. People spent money on rocks. That's how good the 80s were. It was insane. So we had it easy, man. We had it easy. And we did so much crazy stuff being free range kids, and I was zero guidance whatsoever and literally living alone at 14 years old. So it was crazy. And so, but what happened was a lot of our friends died, bad accidents, got hooked on drugs, did horrible things. So many of the girls, got knocked up and dealt with it, and that was a thing, and none of them are happy about that. I mean, that's another conversation I've talked about before. I won't get into it now, but you understand what I'm getting at. There was a lot of things that happened because we had that freedom, and then there was like a rebellion in a way. So, because it blows my mind away, because my friends who had kids, a lot of them became helicopter parents, and they created this whole generation of kids that, man, come on. What they infantized the youth. They didn't give them any freedom, So it's like they very strange what they did there. So the youngest generation now, which I don't even know what generation they're calling it. I have no idea what they're calling the latest group of kids right now. At least I can't think of it. I just can't recall it. Can't keep up with it. It's interesting that they're rebelling against everything, and I'm all for it, man. I think it's good. I wrote some things here, and I had a whole thing, and I just wrote notes about it. I think it came from a conversation or something I had this week with somebody, and I realized it might have been through comments with you guys. I'm a pretty even-keeled person. When I talk to somebody, I know how to make people feel good, and I can talk to anybody. right? This is something my dad used to say all the time. He'd say, Michael, I could talk to a bum on the street. I could talk to the Queen of England. I could make them both feel comfortable. Well, that's a skill, right? And I have that skill. And it hit me. I realized, not that I would want this, but I'd be a good diplomat. You could put me in any situation, any country, and I could work with people and see what's going on and listen to them and admit, like, if we're wrong and, and work out a deal. This is what I do for a living. I have to do that. I have to be pretty good at it because that's how I'm able to survive. So, but I wrote something here that now I wish I could remember, because I was talking about myself versus women, because women can be delusional, and I think I was thinking about the looks and whatnot. Like there's this thing with women sometimes where they just think they have a high outlook of themselves and oftentimes it's just delusional. You are not what you think you are. And with me, I'm self-deprecating and I know exactly what I am. And I probably had a good story to tell you with that, but I never finished the note, so I apologize. But the next one is Bill Burr. And so I did a video a couple months ago, I think it was, where I don't trust Bill Burr. I don't remember what that one was about. He was just talking some smack and it's crazy, but I've got him figured out now, because I saw something where he was on like the red carpet for something. It was some big event recently. Was it the Oscars or something? I don't even know. And he was all, trying to be a tough guy, where these reporters were asking him questions about politics, and he's all like, I'm not going to go there with you. What are you talking about? I'm not going to, I'm not going to let you make me look stupid out here, say something and turn to a big sensationalized thing. And I'm not doing that game. I'm just a comedian. I'm an idiot. Oh yeah? Well, then why don't you just shut your fucking mouth about everything? How about that one? Because he said a lot of stupid things, right? It's all left-wing shit that he's been saying lately for like the last year or more. Just ridiculous, crazy nonsense. And then when he's questioned about what's come out of his mouth, he's all, no, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to. Like, if it was anybody else, if it was Greg Gutfeld, for instance, he would have an answer for it. He said, well, this is what I think. Boom, boom, boom. Bill Burr doesn't want to tell you what he really thinks. You know why? Because he's not thinking. You know what he's doing? When he says these crazy things, it's because he's repeating what he's hearing all day long. You know who he's hearing it from? His wife. That's what's going on in his life. His wife has to be a black lady who hates Trump. She is barking in his ear all day long. Do you believe this? Do you believe the white man and the women and the patriarchy and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? That's what he's living with. That is his life, man. That's his choice. He made this choice to live with this woman. I guarantee you, 100%, that's what's going on. She is just barking shit at him, and he's like sucking in like a sponge and like, yep, yes, ma'am, yep, yep. And just he's repeating what she said to keep peace at home. That's all that's going on. Because that's us. Black women are strong women, man. They're not always right. But if you want to have a happy house with a woman like that, you better go along and just basically kowtow, and whatever she says goes, man. She's wearing the pants in that relationship. So it's actually pathetic to watch that. It's just like he's not funny anymore, and he's losing it. And that's what's happening to all those guys. He's a beta male. It's okay. Not everybody can be the other types, the sigma males, the alpha males, or the omega male. Strictly beta, that guy. Nothing alpha about that guy. He did a whole career sounding like an alpha male. That's what was funny. And now we find out, no, he's just a pussy. But then again, you are what you eat, so I don't know what to tell you. What was the other thought I had here? There was another one here. If we, so it's interesting. This is interesting. So it's like I told you guys a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago now, I don't even remember, but I mentioned how, because I'm into the watch thing, and I went down the rabbit hole on Japanese watches and the Japanese watch industry, and I talk to you guys all the time about when you have hobbies and other interests, it's interesting how they can overlap other things that are going on, even current events, historically speaking. So the Japanese put real high tariffs on all the Swiss watches and Swiss watch components like movements coming into Japan about 100 years ago. They did it purposefully to boost their own industry, their own watch industry. And now Japan is one of the top, like they might be the number one watch, between Casio and Seiko and Citizen. These are all Japanese watch companies. So that's why they did it. So for them, using a tariff, that was the purpose of it. And that's what a lot of people do. And that's what we're trying to do. So we want to bring manufacturing back to this country. And then people are like, they say stupid things, but the future is different. Like the manufacturing that we're going to have here for the future is not the same manufacturing we had 100 years ago. Like technologies are different. There's cleaner energy. There's a way to have even fossil fuels and whatnot that are cleaner, for the environment and everything else. And when it comes to the environment, it's not about the temperature of the earth or the fucking CO2 in the atmosphere. That's all bullshit. It's clean water, clean air. And the thing is, what are we going to be doing? Well, the future is going to be the semiconductor industry. It's going to be robotics. It's going to be companies that make things. It's not going to be people making them. It's going to be robots making them. But there's going to be humans working the robots, programming them, operating them, maintaining them, repairing them, building them. So that's the future. And these are the types of jobs that will be higher paying jobs that you don't need to go to college for. So you can basically come out of high school, get into a program, like maybe there'll be a Vokes program for this right in high school where you can come out kind of like HVAC or plumbing or any other trade, And but hey, if you're working on robotics, you're not outside in the heat or the snow, like I used to do, building houses. You're going to be in a nice air, climate controlled structure, with air conditioning and whatnot, doing your job. It's going to be pretty nice probably. But then I thought, because I wrote it down, if we're taking those jobs away from China, that's scary. Because now, because you think about this, like the tariffs that China placed on us with our products and the deals that they had because of the horrible bureaucrats and the corrupt politicians that we've had up until now, we're trying to get rid of them. They've been able to have a workforce. They've been able to employ all these people in their country making all these products that we want. Now we're going to be able to bring those jobs back here. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to have millions of unemployed Chinese people. That is frightening to me a little bit. Because that's suddenly when all of a sudden you could start thinking about war. You know what I mean? Hey, we got a bunch of idle hands here. What are we going to do with these people? They're going to have to figure that one out. So that one bothers me. And then the joke is robots. And then, of course, it's the sex robots. This is what's going to happen. There's going to be a bunch of guys out there having sex with robots. And I don't get that personally. I did this like I mentioned this before. It's because as far as I know, to date, it doesn't exist. What does not exist, as far as I know, is a self-cleaning sex robot. You understand what I'm getting at here, man? Because that shit's disgusting. That's like, if you got a wife or a girlfriend or something, and you have sex, hey man, she gets up, goes to shower, and cleans herself out, and that's the thing. If it's a robot, that means you're doing it. And if you're not doing it well enough, you see where it's going. This is disgusting and gross, right? It's like the pocket thing, the fleshlight thing, and all this. What? You got to clean that thing. I hope you're cleaning that thing. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. This works fine. My God. And look, if you're a lady and you're watching this, you just think this is gross. Men are disgusting, man. No, that's just how it is, baby. We are built different than you are, and we need to do this. You got to keep in boot camp. They told us you got to keep the pipes clean. You got a couple times a week minimum with this drill instructor, Sergeant Zick. Okay, guys. Okay, a couple times a week at least minimum. You got to keep them pipes clean. He talked like a 1930s gangster, that guy. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna stick it in just about anything. It's gonna happen. So if there's so I'm just saying, to me, that does not compute. Unless it's got like a button on the back where you pull a lever, like maybe you put a hose in the mouth, and I don't know, whatever you got to do. But even that's a lot of friggin' work. You're better off, well, see, then again, at least you don't have to listen to the squawking and the mundane nonsense and the small talk and the drama and all their friends. You don't have to hear about their friends. Although, what are robots going to be like? What if they start making robots more human-like? What does that turn into? Like, is it robot talk then? Is it robot small talk? I don't like. I got a glitch in my circuitry, and and Jan over there, she's got the same glitch, and I wish you would buy me a better circuit for my thing, and this system's got to get flushed out. I mean, can you imagine if a robot actually started acting like a human that way? You'd kill the thing. You'd kill it. There's gonna be, if that happens, there's gonna be like robots in the landfills after a while. It's crazy. So until they have a self-cleaning sex robot, I don't, it won't matter to some people. It's like a friend of mine. He recently went in the hospital. He's a big time pot smoker, like from the all day long. From the moment, I've talked about him before. From the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to bed, 3 times an hour. Basically, it's every 20 minutes or so. He's hitting the pipe, and I don't know how the heck he can function that way, and he can't. It's destroyed everything. It's destroyed his relationships with his friends, his family, and all of it. And then there's all these terms I can't remember. He almost died at his house, and before he was lucky, there was somebody there to get him to the hospital. I think his lungs collapsed on him. It was like he could have been dead. Should have been dead. He actually did die. He actually did die. They brought him back. They resuscitated him, and they're trying to figure all this out. And then I find out that he's, according to family people, he's got this bong that he never cleans that literally has mold in it. That's the guy that'll have a sex robot that he never cleans out. And I don't even want to think about what your pecker's going to end up looking like. It's just going to be, that's disgusting. It's gross and disgusting. It's disgusting. If you don't, you got to clean that thing out, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. But just the thought of it is just, it turns my friggin' stomach to think of that. Plus, like there's these things out there now. I've looked at them because I'm fascinated by it. I would never, even if I had if I was a multimillionaire, well, maybe I would have one to stick in a corner and make fun of it. I suppose, like to show people, like, can you believe this? But because they got these things called real dolls, it's ridiculous. But again, that's basically legal necrophilia, right? Because you're basically having sex with a lump. Like that's just a person who lays there. I gotta tell you, I've been with a few women in my life that have done that. Like I've literally stopped in the middle of it and looked at them and been like, "Are you even into this?" They're like, well, it's not really. Go, just go, just go. Like I'm not, if you are not interested in participating, then there's no point in doing this, So anybody who can have sex with a lump, just something just sitting there, whether it's a real person or a giant silicone thing, I don't know. That's a crazy thing. I don't know what's going on. I'm not trying to judge. I'm really not trying to judge. I'm just saying, to me personally, that's friggin' crazy, man. Crazy. Out there. But if you have a sex robot that fucks you back, I could see, but again, you got to clean that thing. I'm sorry I'm harping on this too much. I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it because I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. It's probably already happening. But then again, okay, wait a second. I'm catching myself here. If you are an addict, like if you are that bad with it, where you have to be doing that all the time, I mean, it's better you do that than become a rapist or something, or a child molester or something like that. It's better you have some silicone thing that looks like something. Oh my God. The images that are going through my brain right now are so bad. Because I guarantee you, they probably are already making it. How sick is this? It just popped into my brain. They're probably making like real dolls that look like kids. They probably do that. That's scary and disgusting. And what the fuck, man? Wow. This is probably already happening. I'm in my own little bubble. I accuse people being in their bubbles politically with different stuff, but I just suddenly tapped into a thing I never wanted my brain to go there ever. I've never thought about it to this degree until right now. You're watching it happen, and I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Also, Papa Christo's, the Greek restaurant here, is closing on May 4th, which means we only have a few more weeks. And today's Sunday, and I should have went down there. Maybe next Sunday I'll go down at like noon. They used to have, and they probably will have between now and the time they go, like Sunday's like There's a term for it, but I stopped eating out so long ago I forget. You know, you pay X amount, you go in there, eat as much as you want. Big barbecue thing and everything. I should go down there and do that. They made it sound like there's maybe going to be another location opening or something. But Papa Christo's is down. I think it's Olympic in Normandy. It's right across the street from the Greek church, and it's pretty good Greek food. It's pretty cool. There's a little guy, portly guy with a big handlebar mustache. It's his joint. And my buddy Petros, who also bought a pair of the boots from Chris. He had a pair of Broadwingers made for himself. But Petros used to play the bouzouki and other Greek instruments at Papa Christo's. And I used to go down there more regularly. And years ago, I went, and they probably still do this. Maybe I should try to do it before. It's just me, though. Again, if I had a girlfriend, life would be a little bit more interesting. I could be like, hey, let's go somewhere. But they have like these 8-course dinners, and they had a belly dancer and everything, and wine tasting. And what was really cool was they had wine from all the different regions of Greece. And I drank this one particular wine, and it tasted exactly like my father's wine. And what this is, and they showed me where it was from, and it's exactly from the same area. So it just goes to show, and you guys who are wine connoisseurs know this, there's a consistency. So if all the grapes are grown in one particular area and the wine is made there, it's going to taste like it's from there. So anyhow, it just blew my mind that I was able to discern that. Apparently, I've got a pretty good palate. I used to date a girl who sold wine. And then even when I got into cigars, I used to be really good at telling you all the flavors and the scents and all this. But whatever, it's not like I can really do anything with that. I think that's it for this. So Friday, I got up in the morning and I was getting myself together for the day, and I started getting these text messages from my friend in Denver. She bought another Astro van. I've already talked about this in some Astro van videos, but I'll give you a quick, I'll condense it. She was watching my channel several years ago and went out and bought the same van I have, and then started talking to me through Instagram. And I thought it was a dude. And all the questions were there was no way I could just type the answers. Like, give me your number, I'll talk to you. Turned out to be a chick, and she was cool. And so I walked her through a lot of upgrades to her Astro van. She did the lift kit and all these things. And then both our lives went in different directions, and she met this guy, and she got pregnant, and she had twins with him. And then sadly, that guy passed away like the week after the kids were born. It's all this crazy stuff. And that's it. She's been busy doing her life, like I said, and I've been busy doing mine. And then a couple weeks ago, she called me and she said she wanted to buy another Astro van. Well, I was unaware that she sold the first one. And we talked about that. And based on that conversation, and between that and Sarah, Wonder Hussy, with what she went through with her mechanic and her sister's car, and that guy, her mechanic out in Vegas, telling her that her sister's car had a bad cylinder. And then it turns out our guy Fritz, who's a mechanic and a Baja racer, went over there and did a compression test, said the engine's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. Again, another thing that proved to me that this guy lies to Sarah. And then this other woman I've met before, we're not friends, but I met her, and it's Lydia, and she has this VW bus that she got ripped off. The guy put a junkyard engine in it. He charged her $7,500 for this thing, and it doesn't work. It's a total ripoff. So all of this came together, and I did some videos this week on that, women in mechanics. And my main advice was make friends with people that know about cars so you can get help from other people. Talk to dudes, make friends with dudes, and there's a lot of women out there. There's this whole, they don't want to be mansplained to. All right, well then go get ripped off. You don't want to be mansplained to? Go get ripped off. So get over this nonsense with the mansplaining and just accept the fact that a lot of guys grew up being gearheads, you know, wrenching on cars, wrenching on motorcycles, mopeds, whatever it was, mini bikes. That's where I started. Bicycles and mini bikes and a moped and motorcycles, just moved up, you know. And you know, you learn things along the way. I'm not a mechanic, I'm mechanical, but I'm pretty good and I know a lot of stuff. And you should listen to me when I give you advice. You know, and you should ask me for it. Because there's nothing frustrates me more than talking to some woman I know who tells me a story about their car and how they got ripped off. And I'm like, well, why didn't you call me first? Why didn't you ask my opinion? I would have given it to you. And so Friday morning, Valeska's sending me this text, and she brought her Astro into a mechanic. She had some vibration, I guess, in the front end or something. And he gave her an estimate, and it said front brakes, rear brakes, and idler arms. And I don't have the numbers in front of me. Let's just say it was $1,500. It might have been less than that, $1,300. Might not be a bad number, but when he said brakes, he didn't break it down. He didn't say, little feathers on his pillow here coming out all the time. He didn't say, when he said brakes, he didn't say brake lines, rotors, calipers, brake pads. Like, I want to know, is it just pads? Because then that's kind of steep. You know what I'm saying? So, and then when it came to the idler arms, I said, that's cool because these things go through idler arms. Idler arms are part of your front suspension. They mount kind of to the frame and they mount to your steering linkage, and they kind of keep that in place as your wheels are being manipulated through the linkage. And on the Astro van, the all-wheel drive Astro vans, they can kind of get loose after a while, and you got to replace them. And the standard style are affordable. And it's 2 bolts and a nut. And you can replace your idle arms yourself in your driveway. I mean, depending on issues with your car. You might have rust and things like that you got to deal with. But if you don't have rust on it, you can basically replace your idle arms in about 20 minutes. You know, and that probably includes finding the tools that you need to do it. It's straightforward, simple stuff. But there's a better version of that idler arm. It's a more heavy-duty version. Different companies make it. Dorman happens to make it. But that one is like $62 for one of them. And you always want to replace them in pairs. And the reason I'm telling you all this is that's what I told her. I said, if you're going to do your idler arms, here's a link. Get these. They'll last longer. And then ask him about the brakes so you know. And so she did. And then she was getting back to me about it. And she said to me, she goes, this guy doesn't like the fact that I'm putting him on pause to talk to you to get these answers. And I said, well, nobody's going to like that. She goes, I know it's tricky. And I haven't talked to her about it since, but as another tip for you guys, this is part of the tip I gave in the video. This is why you talk to people. You ask me or your other guy friends about this first. You get online, you go on a forum, which is not always the best. You're not going to get the best information there a lot of the time, but eventually you'll figure these things out. And you'll get a lot of information, and you have to do the research yourself. This is for old cars, by the way, not new cars. New cars don't matter. You bring that to the dealership, you bring that to a mechanic. Mechanic replaces the new parts. There's nothing to argue with that. But with older cars, every time something goes, in particular with the Astro van, and like she's going to do this, she's going to upgrade it. Whenever a part is worn out, this is an opportunity not just to replace the part, but to also upgrade the vehicle. Make it even better than it was. Put a part in it that was better than the stock one. Maybe you're doing what I'm going to do. Maybe you're going to put a lift on it and take it off-road, and so you want the more heavy-duty versions of these parts. So if you're going to a mechanic and this is your intention, you have to clarify that with him and say, look, man, I'm going to pay you to do the work. I want to trust you and everything else, but just know I'm learning this and I'm looking into things, and I know that there's different versions of some of these parts that I'm going to want to put in that might not be the thing you want to put in, but it is an upgrade. It's better. So if you could please bear with me on, schmooze it over, man. Be cool. If you're cool, then good things can happen. So Friday morning I wake up, I'm dealing with that with her. So it's a bunch of texts, getting online, finding links, all this stuff before I even leave to go to the shop. I go to the shop, I want to get some work done, but I had done a video on the Astro van. It was Astro van ideas, and I talked about my sliding door, and once again I brought up how I want to do the bump outs on the back of the van. So the Astro van, the passenger vans, have, you know, you got your windshield, you have your driver's and passenger windows. Behind that, you have these long windows that pop open. Then you've got two more windows behind that. They're about 3 feet long. And then you got the back window. Well, the two back side windows, my thought, and I'm not the only guy to think this, we see this with modern Sprinter vans now. If you pop that out, with Sprinter vans, they make these fiberglass things you can glue on that bump out. They just bump out on the sides. That elongates that space. So now like a 6-foot person can sleep crossways across the back. You don't have to go lengthwise in the van. And if that's what I do. So I have a little deck there. I'm 5'9". I barely fit in there. I have to sleep on an angle for it to be somewhat comfortable. So having these bump outs would be a great thing. And I talked about many times here of how I would do it. And I did that. And then a guy put a link. He says, hey, man, there's a company down the road here, Fiberine, who they make the toppers. So they'll cut your roof off and they'll put a fiberglass top on it that now you can get in and stand up in your van. I've considered that. I don't want to do it because I use the roof of my van all the time. That's why I have that that flat deck on the roof. I put material up there. I put people up there. I go up there. I use it all the time. It's very important for me. And I don't want the van being super tall, and I don't mind the space in there. But I do want to keep the bed system I have, because when you open the slider and you spin the front passenger seat around, you have this big living room area where you can do all kinds of things in there. I could work out in there. I could cook in there if I want. You know, it's just nice. If you're stuck in there and it's raining or it's snowing outside, you've got plenty of room inside the thing. So it turns out Fiberine made the bump outs for the van. And I talked to him on the phone on Friday, and he's hooking me up, and I'm going to go down there and pick up a set possibly Thursday afternoon. So I'll be doing a video on the install on that. It's amazing. His name's Gonzalo. We had a great phone conversation. And this goes to what I was just talking about, my friend Valeska dealing with her mechanic, and women in general with my advice to you. And it was general. It's also advice for everybody. It's not just women have this problem. There's plenty of guys who don't know about cars. So, but the thing is you want to go in, you want to talk to people, and you want to be a diplomat, right? I said I'd be a good diplomat. If you go in and you're nice to people and you're smiling and you're asking them pertinent questions and you're being cool with them, and you let them know a little about you and you listen to them about them and you get their story and you start bouncing ideas, well, now you're bonding as human beings. And when you do that, you're an affable person and you're being gregarious, and as long as you're genuine, you know, well, all of a sudden now people want to do things. Like the reason why we're having all these problems in the world leading up to this, because people weren't really talking that way. Like the underhanded deals were going on between people that wanted to screw us and steal the American tax dollar, you know. But you've got to be able to talk to people and be honest and be real about stuff. And when you do that, people respect it, and then good things happen. And so that's what's happening here with this. So I'm going to do a how-to, like at least how I'm going to do it. My only thing about it right now, and you'll see this when I do the video on it, is my idea on the Astro van, the glass is on the outside of the van. It's flush with the sheet metal of the van pretty much. It sits, it insets. There's like a lip that dips in and it's just glued in place. That's how I was going to do my bump out from the outside, because it would look trick. I would have the flange built into it from the outside with glue on. I was thinking about maybe putting 4 bolts in it to hold it just to be extra secure. He's got a flange on it, and his is designed to come in from the inside. And the problem with that is when you look at it from the outside, you can see the dip in where the glass would normally go, and then the edge of the metal. And I don't like that. So I talked to Dave already, and Dave's really good at 3D printing and all this, and he's got a company in Utah that'll 3D print us anything that's big. He's getting the parts for the engine lift and brackets, engine lift and transmission brackets. He's getting those parts CNC machine there, cut there, and they're sent to him flat, and then he welds them together. Well, and I'll tell Gonzalo this when I go to pick these up. We're going to make an exterior trim ring for it. And the whole thing is I want to have these things and have them installed before the 26th of this month, because we're having an Astro van meetup with Sarah Wonder Hussey. We're piggybacking on her meet and greet at the Baghdad Cafe in Newberry Springs, California on Route 66, just east of Barstow. So that's going to happen on April 26th. If you guys want to show up, that'd be fun. And if you got an Astro van, bring it, park it, and camp out for the night. It'll be a good time. So I hope to have these bump outs in for that. And it's very exciting. I didn't want to reveal that right now. I just want to share it with you at the end of the week. But now you know, we all got something to look forward to. He sent me a confirmation note on Friday afternoon telling me, yeah, come in after 1 on Thursday. So I'll either do that or go in there Friday morning, whatever. But this is exciting stuff. It's a big deal for the van. And it's another one of those kind of mystical things with me, with the universe. Um, I see things in my mind that I want to happen, and then somehow it happens. I don't know how I'm manifesting this stuff, but it's just like this weird. I wish I knew when I was young. I wish it was. I've said this often here before. We have to get the idea into the minds of our children that if you think about something enough, you focus on things, and you make gains towards it, and you also work on being a good human being, and you do good things for other people, then that kind of comes back on you in a good positive way as well. And then the things that you want end up happening. But you actually have to want them. You know, you have to be proactive with your mind and work towards things a little bit. And I never really realized that. Of course, I was unhappy for a lot of my life. We've talked about this before, and we know what that all comes from. So it's just later in life where I'm finally understanding all this. It's so crazy. It's almost like I wasted all this time struggling and being angry and upset and all this, and now I have a whole different outlook on the world and life and human relationships. So it's interesting. And the other thing we have to get into the minds of our children is the idea that you never die. It's very important. You go off to the next thing. It's not just lights out. You might not believe that, and that's fine. If you want to be one of those people, that's fine. If you get the idea in your mind that you, and this was verified to me with my own life experiences. So, but once you know and you accept that, well, now you can live because you're not afraid of dying. Because if you're afraid of dying, you never truly live. And I'll leave you with that. You guys have a great day. This was just a rambling. I hope I made you chuckle somewhere along the line. Be kind to one another. I'll catch you in the next one. This will be an interesting week. I have not really made any money at all, and I've got to get some projects coming in. So I got to make something happen. Say some prayers, cross some fingers, and I'll be making some videos throughout the week. So I'll see you later in the week. Throughout the week, you'll see these bump outs for the van. It's going to be cool. It's more than just that. You'll see as that happens. And then again, 26th of the month, Baghdad Cafe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be kind, right? Be good. Be a good human.